All right, welcome into the Daily Fix, a little Red Friday edition of the Daily Fix, man. Listen, we love you. It's a big Friday off the bye week finally for the Chiefs. A great weekend of football in college and the NFL. Can I first say shout out before we get started to one of the greatest current nicknames, and I know Steve, you have no idea, but old Big Christmas. Old Big Christmas. I don't know if you've heard about old Big Christmas, who hit that two-run homer in the ninth with two outs for the Cleveland Guardians, but his last name is Noel, uh, and they call him Big Christmas. And I am into old Big Christmas, and he looks like a big Christmas present. And but he had the moment of the postseason thus far. So shout out to old Big Christmas and the greatest nickname of all time, but not all time, but at least right now. All right, listen, that is Steve Serta in the little box where he rightfully belongs. And this is the Daily Fix with your host, myself, Ron Hughley. And we are presented by Foolish Club Media. And I would say the first thing that I want to say is, hey, we appreciate you however you're taking this in. If you're taking this in on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, we appreciate that. If you're listening to us on YouTube, we greatly appreciate that too. If you are with us every day, you know the drill. First thing I need you to do, if you have not done so, is to please go to our Foolish Club Media YouTube channel and like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. We are the fastest growing / slowest growing digital platform today, but we want you to help us keep going. So please like and subscribe at Foolish Club Media on our YouTube channel. If you do not do so, remember you are preventing my children from eating. Not going to hold you long. Not going to hold you long. I smell something. If you ever seen the movie House Party, he said, I smell. Well, I ain't gonna finish what he said, but I smell something. Something don't smell right that's coming out of Charlottesville. We'll get to that. And one of the real scary things about the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think it really shows its head. I could be dead wrong. Has not happened often, just a lot, but I could be dead wrong. But this is one of the real scary things about this Chiefs team in this year's NFL. But this is where I first want to start, Steve. Um, Listen, I think right off the bat, as you see there, I think a lot of people think that the 49ers have this emotional upper hand in this game, which I'm not going to just dismiss it normally in sports, Steve, because I do think a revenge factor is something that is at times going into a game a an advantage. I mean, just naturally, man, you tend to focus. If you have circled a game, if this is a game that you have built your season around, like, and you look at this, and this is the team you want, that whole week you're going to be more focused. Through stretches, through everything, more film, you're going to be more serious about that game than you are if you're playing the New England Patriots right now. You just are. But in this case, I don't believe in the revenge factor. Listen, I have concerns about this game for the Chiefs. I don't think this is a great spot. I'll let the cat out of the bag. If you want to, please go listen to the show and BK podcast. I picked the 49ers to actually win this game. So I think they may get the Chiefs on Sunday. Hope I'm dead wrong on that, but I do think they could get the Chiefs on Sunday. But I don't think, Steve, it's going to be because of a revenge factor. Because the Chiefs deal with this every single week. I mean, they are now in the space of Kansas, Duke, North Carolina basketball, UConn basketball. They're in the space of Alabama, Georgia football, the Patriots where they were, the Miami Heat when it was LeBron and D Wade and Bosh and all of them, where everybody gives them their best shot. You know how many teams have circled the Chiefs and just say, hey, this is our game. I think the Bengals have done it the last several times they played them. I think Buffalo does it all the time, especially in the playoffs. I think Baltimore has done it every time they played them. Hell, I think the 49ers. When is the last time the 49ers have beaten the Chiefs? They lost to them Pat's rookie year. They lost to them in the Super Bowl. They lost to them when they went up to Santa Clara a couple of years ago, where they put 40-something on their heads, and then they lost to them in the Super Bowl again. I don't think the revenge factor will be the reason. The Chiefs very well may lose this game, but I don't think it's going to be afterwards. We're going to be like, yeah, man, the Niners had an emotional advantage because they just really, really wanted this game. This is the reality for the Chiefs every week.
I also think it doesn't really play in as much as you might think against a team like the 49ers. Like there's a lot of parallels between the Chiefs and the 49ers. It's just the Chiefs have won the Super Bowls and the 49ers haven't, but they've been to multiple Super Bowls, been to multiple NFC championship games. The 49ers regularly every year play down to their opponents and lose games early in the season that they have no business losing. Like it's a pretty common trend between both of these teams that they play down to their competition. And then I would assume that they'll both get up for this game, but Andy Reid has had Kyle Shanahan's number for the most part. Like I just don't think that there's a huge revenge factor in this game because I think they're just too similar in how great they've been.
I listen, they've been great. And I think the 49ers are usually on the end of what the Chiefs are. Like, I think the Dallas Cowboys circle the games against the 49ers. I think the Rams really circle the games against the 49ers. But this is the one team that the Niners can't solve that I think they want to beat more than anybody. Fred Warner, one of the real leaders on that team, said this is the most important game of the season. He already came out and said that. So I think it is. I think there is a revenge factor from the Niners, but I think the Chiefs deal with this all the time. I think there's been a revenge factor for the Broncos, Raiders, and the Chargers every single year that they play the Chiefs like the last 7 or 8 years, but it doesn't mean anything because the Chiefs are used to this. All right. Speaking about this game, Steve, you may completely disagree with this, and some of you listening right now may completely disagree with this. But, Steve, I think the scary thing about the Chiefs, and this is coming from someone who I just said in that first segment, I think that they may lose this game. I don't think that the Chiefs need Patrick Mahomes to be, as our good friend, the late, great Therese Paylor would say, have a over my dead body game. I don't think that the Chiefs need Patrick Mahomes' A game to win against the Niners on Sunday, which is insane when you think about, hey, man, they've lost Rashee Rice, their number one receiving threat. They've lost Hollywood Brown, who was their big free agent pickup. They lost Isaiah Pacheco, who was poised to have a breakout year. The physicality that he brings to the table. There is some up and down and major concerns for myself with the offensive tackles in this game. I mean, they've got injuries, severe injuries all over the place. Mike Dana may not play. You would normally think going on the road to a Super Bowl caliber team that the Chiefs would need Patrick Mahomes to go Patrick Mahomes. Like, I asked myself, hey, does Patrick Mahomes need to throw for 300 yards for them to win this game? No. Does Patrick Mahomes, if he turns the ball over, will they lose? No, he turns the ball over damn near every week. Like, that's what he does. Like, I don't think they need an A effort from Mahomes. I think they'll have moments where he needs to make plays. Like, to me, if Patrick Mahomes plays his A game against any opponent in this season, I think the Chiefs just dominate games. Their defense is so good that keeps them in it. Their running game has improved to where it's not a put on your cape, Pat, and save us. Even though I think that the Niners can get them, if Patrick Mahomes throws a pick, I don't think it's necessarily over. I think they can beat this 49ers team with a Patrick Mahomes B effort.
I kind of agree because the defense is so good. Yeah. And this 49ers team hasn't been quite the dominant offensive 49ers team that we've seen in the past. And a lot of that is Christian McCaffrey
they're without him
available. Yeah. Like, Christian McCaffrey is so important to their offense and everything that they do on the ground and in the passing game with him that the offense hasn't looked quite the same. They still have star players, like George Kittle's playing out of his mind right now. Deebo Samuel's been a little banged up. Brandon Ayuk's had a slow start to the season, but Brock Purdy's playing well. But I do feel like the Chiefs defense can give them problems, and enough to where this could just be another kind of typical ugly Chiefs game that comes down to late fourth quarter drive from Patrick Mahomes or something like that.
Yeah. Like, do you think he was like it was an A game for him last year in the Super Bowl? I don't think so. He had
No,
an awful
no.
turnover in the game, and
Yeah,
they had Christian, and
yeah,
they
and
had McCaffrey.
The Chiefs defense was just so good. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I don't that's what I'm saying is last year, I think the 49ers are a better team than they are right now. I mean, he ended up, throwing for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and rushing for 66 yards. So I don't know, maybe he was close to being in an A effort now that I really kind of pull back and think about it. But I still think the interceptions turning the ball over. I still think that we've seen him be perfect almost where it was an A effort. I don't know. I just think they've got so many parts on this team and no Christian McCaffrey that can help that. All right. There was breaking news that came out yesterday, Steve, and I'm telling you, I hate that my mind goes this way, but I think the world we live in forces it to go this way. And sports and what we see now forces it to go this way. In my mind, honest to God, the first thing that I envisioned was Bobby Petrino at that press conference with that fake neck roll or that neck brace that he had around his neck when he all of a sudden left for Arkansas after being so good. It said yesterday, it was breaking news yesterday, Steve, that Tony Bennett, Virginia's men's basketball head coach, recently over the last couple of years, about 2 or 3 years ago, won a national championship at Virginia. That all of a sudden Tony Bennett today on Friday will announce in a press conference his retirement. Listen, Steve, I something don't smell right here, Steve. Tony Bennett's 55 years old. Like that is classic head coach range, right? That is not where this. I mean,
I'd love to retire at 55.
I mean, Coach K was in his 80s banging this thing out. Jim Larinetta is still old and banging this thing out. He's 55. Steve, the season starts in 18 days. Like they're going to start a game. They've run through all of training camp practices all the way up here, and he just woke up and just said, "You know what? I've had enough. I'm out. I'm done here." I hope that's what happened. I hope something. And they said there's no health issues like this, like with Urban Meyer and stuff. Something just feels like something just happened. I just don't know how you got all the way up to this point to the season about to start, and then you're stepping away at 55 years old with no health concerns, and now you're just ready to shut it down. It feels like something has happened. It feels like something has been caught up. I don't know what it is, but I will be stunned, Steve, if the Tony Bennett retirement thing just ends with the Tony Bennett retired, because they're not prepared at all. They have no idea who's going to be the interim coach. He just surprised them.
Well, maybe he just doesn't have it in him anymore. The culture of college sports, like Tony Bennett's just sick of it. He said, I'm a winning coach. I'm one of the best coaches in Virginia history, and I've accomplished a lot, and I've made millions of dollars. I am ready to walk away because I don't feel like dealing with it anymore.
Except he's decided to deal with it all the way up until the start of the season. Like he went through all of the recruiting. He went through all of the NIL deals. He went through all of that with 18 days left before the season starts. And now he just woke up yesterday and said, "You know what? I'm out."
Remember when that cornerback, who was it, Vontae Davis, retired at halftime? It just happens sometimes.
Yeah,
sometimes you hit the wall and you say enough's enough.
Well, Vontae's going through some things too at that time. We rest in peace. I believe we lost him earlier this year. Vontae was going through some stuff. All right. I'm just telling you, there's something more to this with Tony Bennett at 55 years old, going all the way through the entire lead up until the season starts with 18 days to go and him just retiring out of nowhere. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am, and I hope it is the case. But I don't know, Tony. Something don't smell right. Something smell like something happened. Like I hope I'm wrong. I'm speculating. Something. I don't think drugs, but something feels like it happened. I don't know what somebody that got themselves. What happened with Ime Udoka? where he just abruptly had to leave the Celtics. I don't know. Something happened. Hi, Mom and Courtney.